you own a Sega Saturn in the modern era, you're a cool person. But if you know anything about the Sega Saturn, it's a very daunting system to get involved with because games just cost too much. Hundreds, even thousands of dollars for some of the more popular and better playing games for the platform. Now, there are some options out there, such as the Terraonion mode for the Sega Saturn that has you taking apart your Sega Saturn, and then you got to add something into it to replace the optical disc of the Sega Saturn, and that's just a little too much work for me. And it's also very expensive. Now, you also have the Satiator, which is a little bit better. You just unplug something in the back of the Sega Saturn. But once again, expensive and very hard to come by. But what if there was a cartridge, for instance, that you could put in the back of your Sega Saturn to fill up that cartridge slot that would allow you to play Sega Saturn games on your Sega Saturn without anything else? You already see where I'm going with this because it's called the Saru. Now, I picked up my Saru over on Amazon because it came preloaded with a micro SD card. And this is only like $100 or so with a little bit extra on it. And it gives you the potential to play the full library of Sega Saturn games on your Sega Saturn. But how does it work? How do you add games? And is it worth picking up? Does the quality actually meet the expectation that people will have with this cartridge? That's what we're going to talk about in today's video. All right, so when you take the SD card out of the Saru cartridge, this is what will pop up on your computer. And you can see here we have some different folders. We'll go to the Saru folder, and then really the main folder you're going to be looking at is the ISO folder. Now, this will have all of your games in here that come preloaded on here. But one of the cool things about this is, like I said, you can add your own games to this as well because I mean, just download Sega Saturn games. Like stop giving resellers hundreds of thousands of dollars in some cases. Like, just download the games. They're all over the internet. I'm not going to tell you where to get them. But this is kind of the file management system. So take a game like Last Bronx. You can come in here and see everything is just basically in the folder. So if you wanted to add another game to this system, this is how you would do it. So here is Christmas Nights, because I'm filming this around the holiday season, and we're just going to drag and drop it into our folder, and then theoretically speaking, this will put Christmas Nights onto our Saru micro SD card. So that also opens up the ability to add homebrew games, translation games, because there's going to be games on here that you're going to look and, you're not going to love all of them. Like Don Pachi Digital Dance Mix Volume 1. So there's things you can get rid of and add your own games to it. But the file system, very easy, plug and play. Like I said, you just plug it into your computer with a micro SD card adapter, and then you have access to the files of this system, and that's pretty much how you add a game to it. But let's take a look at how it looks when you boot up the system and how the games actually play. All right, so after plugging in your Saru cartridge into your Sega Saturn, this is the menu system that you are greeted with. Pretty basic. I don't really care, though. Like, I don't need a fancy menu system. Really, the only thing to keep an eye on are subsequent firmware updates. They have done some improvements since the initial launch of the cartridge itself, but if you're buying one now, it'll probably have the latest firmware on there, but just something to kind of keep an eye about as far as maybe they add some more features into it. So you go to select game, and you can see here, once again, very basic menu system. But going back to the micro SD card that you have with this cartridge, you can always change this up. You can add, genres, you can add, A, B, C, D, and then put all the games in there, whatever you want to do. Now, with this preload, you do see there's some kind of weird stuff in here, some Japanese versions of games. You can always just, swap those out, find the ISOs online. It's not very hard to find Saturn stuff in here, but there is a lot of good stuff on here as well that makes it, valuable, in my opinion. It at least gives you a baseline of what to do as far as games are concerned. So let's take a look at some games, because I mean, that's kind of an important thing here, because I want to show you guys just how fast like everything loads on this. It's absolutely ridiculous. So this is all going to be done in real time. I'm not going to press any buttons. I'm not going to do anything, and we're going to choose Panzer Dragoon 2. And like, we're already here. Now, if you've played this game on original hardware, you would know that this is a lot zippier than you would traditionally see. You know, press start to get into the menu system. Okay, let's do a new game. And then bam, we're here. Like, it's literally insane just how fast everything loads on this. And you really don't have, I mean, you have little load times here and there, but you know, nothing worth really mentioning. And you can see the game is playing exactly how it should. Like, it's not, you know, anything jank or anything like that. It's playing exactly how it should. No input lag or anything. And that's what makes this cartridge so special, in my opinion, because when you factor in the price of things and just how crazy Sega Saturn stuff is, you know, this is an absolute steal. This is the price. It's often less of a price than just one of the games would be as far as a bigger, you know, collection piece game. So let's check out some other stuff, though, because obviously there is some variation to the Sega Saturn library, and we'll see what else this cartridge can do. What about a game that utilizes the RAM cartridge for the Sega Saturn with the additional 1 megabyte or 4 megabyte of RAM? We're using the cartridge slot. How could we play X-Men versus Street Fighter? I mean, come on, dude. You knew this was going to work. And, you know, once again, just so great. Like, so great. It'll play anything you throw at it because it's not software emulation. It's emulating the Sega Saturn as far as on a hardware level of the system itself. And once again, everything looks, feels, and plays exactly how it should. Do not kiss me, Rogue. I did not authorize this kiss. This is 2024. 2025 potentially when you're watching this video. That doesn't fly anymore, toots. But yes, you can see here 4 megabyte, 1 megabyte cartridges, whatever. Anything will run with these games as far as, you know, wanting to put in your own library of games or wanting to explore the library of Sega Saturn games. So let's check out some more stuff, though. Obviously, we did add a game earlier, so let's make sure that that is working properly. Well, it's the Christmas season, so we got to make sure that we put Christmas Nights onto our Saru cartridge properly. And like I showed you guys initially, you know, we just dragged and dropped the folder. We didn't do anything with it. We didn't mess with it. And now we are playing Christmas Nights on the Sega Saturn. I am filming this right before Christmas, so I felt like this was an appropriate title as it was not on the initial cartridge that we had. If you've never played this, it's literally just the first level of Nights with a Christmas aesthetic, but there's lots of little weird kind of hidden secrets and Christmassy songs. This man, Sega was so freaking cool, dude. Like what other company is doing something like this? Like making a Christmas themed sort of thing. And I get it. You have like Call of Duty and crap like that nowadays, but this is just next level, dude. This is awesome. This is why I miss Sega in the console landscape. And like, I get it, you know, they still make games and crap, but just so unique. So I am literally smiling right now, and I don't smile if you know anything about me unless I am up to something mischievous. But this just makes me genuinely happy. This is just so awesome. Everyone should play this. Buy the Saru, download Christmas Nights, and have yourself a great holiday season. You know, like that's what this is made for. Get the last one, you idiot. I love Nights too. I need a new modern Nights game. But yeah, so we have one more thing to check out, and that is some homebrew. Remember when X-Men Arcade came out on the Sega Saturn? I mean, it didn't. This is actually a homebrew port of the arcade game that it's ridiculous that this still hasn't come out on home consoles, and we are in the era of everything getting a release. Now, I will say homebrew can be very finicky with the Saru. Some things I had luck with, some things not so much, but there's not really, you know, a ton of Saturn homebrew stuff out there. When it comes to like translation patches and stuff, that'll all work pretty much fine. It's more so like the newer projects. But yeah, I absolutely love this thing, dude. I think this is, if you own a Sega Saturn and you don't already have like a Satiator or a Terraonion installed on it, like this is the move, dude. Like even if you're just getting into the Sega Saturn market, like pick up a Saturn, pick up the Saru cartridge, and like you're good to go. Like that's all you need. As far as connecting to an HD television, I'm just using a Kaiko line doubling cable for the Sega Saturn. It also works with other Sega consoles as well. I'll have an Amazon link to it, Amazon affiliate link to it in the description box down below, along with the Saru. But yes, I love this thing. It's absolutely awesome. You know, the load times are ridiculous. And the fact that you don't have to mod anything, you don't have to cut anything, you don't have to open up the board, like it's perfect. It's perfect for people like me and probably people like you. So let me know in the comment section down below, what are you thinking about this? Are you going to pick one of these up? If not, and you don't even own a Saturn, hey, thanks for watching all the way to the end of this video. Hit that subscribe button if you are new, and as always, catch you guys on the next video. Later.